Chats with Lia Hatz. What are you saying then? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chats with Lia Hatz. My name's Lia, and today we're chatting to Lucy Earle, who is an incredibly successful, beautiful, wonderful human being, most known for her channel English with Lucy, which has amassed over 6 million subscribers. Absolutely crazy. I wanted to chat to Lucy about the highs and lows of being a creator online and also discuss some of the obstacles that she's faced, starting from where she did to where she is now, and also just chat about a bit of this and that, have a little gossip, have a little catch up. So I hope you're sitting comfortably, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on any good audio platform. I must apologize for anyone watching on YouTube. There's a really large zit on my chin. I didn't notice it until after filming, and it nearly made me want to re-record the whole thing. But Lucy, I do value Lucy's time so much, so I didn't want to ask her to do that. But anyway, enjoy, everyone. This is Lucy Earle. Do you remember when we met at the YouTube Space London?
Do I remember the exact moment? I think, was it a party?
We were both invited to be part of a fashion show, and
was that the first time we met?
Yeah. I think so.
Yes, and I remember that picture of you was on the YouTube website for ages.
Oh my gosh, they just had us on the runway as free models. And
it was to show off their merch.
Yeah. And I remember that day, I remember meeting you backstage and I was like, oh my gosh, Lucy, oh my God, so exciting. And I remember before I'd met you, I had a little bit of a meltdown backstage because they had all done our hair and makeup and they'd put my hair up in a high pony, and I hate my ears. And I remember having a meltdown and I was right, I need to leave the building. I ran into King's Cross and I went into Accessorize and I bought the biggest earrings I could find because I thought
to draw more attention to them.
I thought it would detract.
I hate these.
I thought it would detract from the shape of my ears. So I was like, if I just put some big earrings in, then people won't look at the size of my ears. Anyway, and then I can't believe I got upset about it. And then anyway, the night got a lot better because I met you backstage, and then we all did our little fashion show for their merch. And then I feel after that point, our relationship we didn't meet up many times in person, but I feel I know you really, really well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've had a very strong digital friendship.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's the thing. But yeah, definitely. I would say you're probably one of the people that I speak to most, especially about anything to do with online drama or anything like that. You are the person I go to because I want to know your opinion on these things.
Yeah, we've whenever there's something hot on the internet, I feel I can obviously message you about it because we're in the same space. But then also I feel I can also message you if I found a really good fake tan or something, which is nice. Which is nice.
Yeah, you probably cannot see that I have got it on today, but that just kind of shows how pale I actually am if this is a layer of fake tan. I did it wrong the first time. So it was an airbrush facial fake tan that was actually your friend
Christy recommended it, and it's been a game changer. Yeah.
Yeah, I must buy her a drink next time I see her because it has been excellent.
Yeah, I feel that was us going for drinks. Sorry, just as you said drinks, it reminded me of drinks. Us going for a drink, at the pub is kind of where we ended up getting to know each other. And then from there, it's just been digital ever since.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because everyone meets in London at the YouTube space, or did, because now obviously
it's over.
It's a goner.
Very sad.
That's so sad for new people coming onto YouTube because that was so important. I joined that space kind of late.
Oh, right.
I think a lot of people were there from the time they had 15,000 subscribers or something. And when I joined it, I thought, oh my God, why have I left this so long? It's such an amazing way to meet people. I forgot about that little pub
Yeah.
O'Neill's, wasn't it?
I think it was either O'Neill's or there was a more bougie, can pubs be bougie, round the corner that was more of a bar, and we went down the stairs. This is so niche for anybody listening. This is so niche. Might not even use it, but yeah, I feel like that's where so many friendships and people that have met through doing YouTube, because we don't have colleagues. Like, what's that like? I mean, for you do your channel completely alone. I have my main channel with Joel, so I have someone to bounce off all the time. But who do you bounce off with ideas? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it is really lonely. I'm definitely. I used to beat myself up about not having so many friends until recently, where I actually realised I am actually okay with this. I've got my two best friends who we catch up maybe not as often as normal people, I think. But when we catch up, we have a great catch up. My mum is the person I speak to, and Will is they're the people I speak to most. And I'm kind of happy with it being like that. But I do keep in touch with a lot of other English teachers, online English teachers in the industry. And whenever I do that and we have Zooms and things, I always come away buzzing and full of ideas, and we bounce a lot of ideas off each other. But the job is really solitary. Online education is solitary. I see all the kind of YouTubers in America that are in like their hype houses and things like that, and that looks too sociable for me. That's not good.
Could you imagine if they stuck like you and all the other English educators in a house and tried to make like a drama out of
that would be ridiculous. That would be so rubbish. But actually we do, and we were meant to do it in April, and then it got postponed to October, and now I think it's going to be sometime else this year. We do masterminds where we book an Airbnb. I think it was in Croatia. It was meant to be this year. 10 of us for a week, and we just brainstorm and talk about our courses. Because the different thing with educational creators is that our main bread and butter is normally selling online courses and creating them. And there's so many ins and outs to that. It gets so complicated. So yeah, we've been doing some online ones, but I'm really excited to go to, I think, Croatia with a load of English teachers.
Is it, is it hard to like make sure everyone's course offers something different? Like, do they have these mastermind meetings where they go like, okay, you offer that, I'll offer this, and then we'll all be fine, and there's an abundance of work out there for all of us?
Well, it's a very trusted group, and we've all got slightly different audiences. And I think there's that kind of the trust there that no one's going to rip off anyone else's things. But there is kind of just space for everyone. It's that sort of mentality. I really like it. It's a really, really nice group of people. And a lot of us teach different languages. One of my favourite people who goes on these just teaches grammar.
Nice.
And just on a website, if you ever search anything grammar related, it's called perfectenglishgrammar.com.
Yeah.
And anything, hers is like top.
Oh, that's amazing.
And she runs this insane business just selling grammar courses and nailing it. So that's her thing. But then she's so open with what she shares.
That's so good, because I feel like there's certain things I've realised through writing. I've started a blog, and I've realised I can't write sentences. So like, for instance, I always use commas, but I never know when to use a semicolon.
Go on perfectenglishgrammar.com.
Wow.
She'll tell you. She'll tell you.
I feel like, I do have to go back to school for that. So I'm excited. Thank you so much. I know that you probably don't like hearing it, but you've built an audience of over 5 million subscribers.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. Like you that doesn't happen overnight. That's taken you time, energy, effort, hard work, sweat, tears, I imagine.
Lots of sweat. Have you seen my sweat patch videos?
Yeah, it's so funny.
Oh, actually, so Joel has persuaded me to go for armpit Botox next week.
Are you going to go to the same place, or have you found somewhere?
Same guy, yeah. I'm putting my trust in Joel here, because it's become such an issue, and so many colours are off limits to me. I can't wait to wear light grey again. Anyway, slight tangent.
No, that's going to be so worth it. Joel said it changed his life. He was like, Leah, why did I not do this sooner? It's just, you have to factor it into your like costs, because I think you have to get it done every 6 months.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem too unreasonable, because I phoned up one clinic and it was like mind-blowing how much it was. And then this guy said, if anyone has sweaty armpits, just contact Joel. He'll get you in there.
Contact Joel.
But yes, I can't believe how much it's grown, the channel. I mean, I don't think anyone would ever expect to reach that number of people just through educational videos. Obviously, I've worked hard at it, but I also feel it's slightly out of my hands as well. I'm very algorithmically pleasing. So that's obviously been a part of it as well. But yes, you were asking about obstacles. What kind of obstacles?
I think, like, can you think of anything that's been either like a mindset obstacle or like a physical, actual obstacle you've had to overcome has there been any breakthrough moments where you're like, wow, I just needed to change my thinking and then this happened?
Yes, one big one. I've got a couple of positive ones and a couple of like negative ones. One big one was, so I think when lots of people start up channels or any sort of side hustle, you're really enthusiastic at first. And then when it doesn't immediately take off, your enthusiasm dwindles. And this happened with me with the channel. I started it in January 2016. Was pretty good. I was uploading every other week, so I was doing it alongside uni and work and things like that. And then I just kind of thought, oh, this isn't really going anywhere. So I had a little break. And it was during that break that one of my videos took off, which taught me the lesson that it's all about evergreen content and make videos that will suddenly take off and do well over time. And that was a big breakthrough for me, because that made me really look at my analytics. And for a while, I was just so confused because I was getting almost exactly 2,000 subscribers a day.
Wow.
And exactly the same amount of views within the odd couple of thousand a day. And I was just wondering, why? Why is it exactly 2,000 every single day? And then I realized it was because this one video was drawing in, it was being pushed to a certain amount of people, and on average, a certain percentage of those were subscribing.
Do you remember what video it was?
Yes, it was 10 words you pronounce wrong with a pointy finger.
I love that. Everyone wants to know what they're doing wrong.
Yes, but it was directed to learners of English. So it was words like chocolate. A lot of my students, I was teaching a lot of Spanish and Italians at the time, would say chocolate. So I was saying, how you can, make it 2 syllables instead of 1. But it went to a really American and UK audience, and they were like, I don't pronounce vegetable wrong. But actually, and I was really, cross. I was like, YouTube, you are promoting my video to the wrong people. But actually, it was fantastic for engagement because I was getting all of these comments.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what made the video really shoot off.
No, that's amazing. And also, just on that comment of your videos reaching maybe the people you weren't aiming them at, I feel like even, now, like a lot of non-learners just watch your videos just because it's just nice to have on.
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them do. I get some really lovely comments from native speakers who have no interest in learning English. They just sometimes leave comments like, hey, I like the way you speak.
It's quite relaxing.
And then move on.
Yeah. I mean, each their own. People like watching ASMR. People like, I watch English with Lucy, guys. But
Thanks for the promo.
That's okay. I noticed that when we did our video in Cambridge, that randomly, like in live, people in London, agents, brands, people were like, oh yeah, saw you on English with Lucy. And I'm like, why do you watch English with no offense, like you're not an English learner, but I so 100% people are watching from everywhere because they're just nosy.
Yes, yeah, and I really liked the video we did that day when we were talking about our stupid language mistakes.
Yeah, I loved it.
That.
Love it.
I need to rewatch that actually. Give me a giggle.
I can't rewatch old videos.
Can't you? Oh, I love doing that.
I don't know why. I think I get really like. Even videos from like a week ago, I'm like, I don't know why.
I can watch all old videos apart from videos that fell within that 6-month period where I decided to get eyelash extensions.
Oh my gosh.
I looked like an insect. I was like, no time. My eye shape is not right for them. Some people look fantastic, But they really did look glued on, like...
So sad. And they kind of fall away gradually and they just look really bad. I would never do it again either. I'm not saying yours were horrendous, but I, from experience, can tell you that I agree that they're bad.
They were very well done. The girl who did it was very clever. They just weren't right for me. And I was constantly like thinking I had something stuck on my eyelash and like scraping it off. And it was like an eyelash. It was just so much faff. It's expensive. I'm all about the LVL now. Have you had one?
Yeah, LVL lash lift. I feel like you and I always exchange what we're having.
Yes.
Right, I'm having my brows laminated and then I'm having an LVL lash tin and like all these trends. I'm wondering in a few years, what are our eyebrows going to look like?
I don't think anyone could have predicted the Scouse brow when it came in. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They were so bold. I remember thinking they looked fantastic. There was no eyebrow pencil that would have worked for me. When Anastasia brought her taupe eyebrow pencil, it was my life changed.
Game changer.
For blondes, it's either yellow or orange. That was the two colours you had as an option.
That's not okay. That's not good.
Yeah, it's not right.
They have so many options for dark-haired brows. I feel like I've got like 8 shades to choose from.
I know.
Oh my
You've got it so easy. Easy.
So there's some horrible people on the internet, obviously. A percentage of people are always going to say really horrible things. How's that for you?
Yeah, there are lots of people on the internet that say rude things. I mean, we've been speaking in private a lot about hate sites and things like that, and how just the ins and outs of it. Because on one hand, people have every right to say what they like, but then and they're not actually saying it directly to people. It's just the fact that it comes up on Google when people's names are searched that it's so complex. Until now, until this moment in time, I've never had too much trouble with sites like that. I used to get, before I became engaged, I used to get a lot of unwanted male attention. And then it was weird. As soon as I became quite obviously, like Will was all over my Instagram and I had videos with him and the vlogging channel, that definitely died down a bit. And I think it's sad that you have to get engaged to have like that layer of protection.
That's crazy. I can't believe that.
But now I used to let messages from men get to me, and I used to be really feisty sometimes. If they send, a really dirty message, I would quite easily find them on Facebook, send them a screenshot of their Facebook and say, do you want me to send that to all your friends and something like that? And I never would, but I just, back in the day, I used to just think, how can you sit there and think it's okay to send someone a message like that?
Yeah.
Every platform has a different sort of hate comment, I feel. Like Instagram, it's always an anonymous person with a picture of a dog as their profile picture. Always.
Wow. This is so interesting that there's always a dog. Yeah.
They're either nothing or a dog.
Yeah.
And they'll just go straight in. Like, I don't agree with this. I think you're this. And people are really rude. YouTube... The worst hate I get is from other teachers, I think. Okay. Who maybe don't have social media accounts or things like that. They will teach in person. And I see where they're coming from, because I remember teaching in person and you just get, especially if you're not a native speaker, you get a really rough deal, I think. Things are changing now, but you're like bottom of the pile when schools are looking for new teachers, even if you are the best, most qualified teacher for the job. And so I do get a lot of comments from disgruntled teachers as well that maybe don't think I deserve the platform I have.
Wow.
Wait, but I'm just as surprised as they are that I have the platform I have. So
yeah, I mean, I can't believe that. So do you mean that people who have an online presence are more likely to get an English teaching job now?
No, I mean, I think it's that English teachers, ESL teachers, English as a second language teachers have low pay, a lot of them, and they're often discriminated against in certain countries because students want a native teacher, and sometimes they even go as far to say, I want them to look a specific way.
Wow, okay.
Especially in countries like China, they will actually put appearance requirements in the job adverts and things, and it can get pretty racist actually. So yeah, it's a hard one. I often get comments from teachers that just think the only reason you are famous is because you're white and blonde and young. And I don't know. I think to a certain extent, they do have a point. I also think if I just was, like a robot, I don't think my channel would have grown.
And like you say, you've still got to have skills. You can't just be hot. Like you can't just be a hot person like, hey, grammar. You've actually got to give the content, and you do all of those things. You just happen to be, in my opinion, very good looking. So,
I'm very flattered.
That's okay.
I think people are very qualified. They've worked really hard to get their degrees and their masters, and some of them have got PhDs, whereas I don't. I have a marketing degree and I have a teaching English qualification.
Yeah.
But my interest has always been in taking difficult topics and making them entertaining and digestible. And I don't feel that I need another qualification to make me more qualified to do that. I did actually look into it. I got to the point where I thought, am I qualified enough? Do I deserve this platform? And I looked into doing a master's, and then I thought, this is not adding anything for anyone. Like me knowing, the master's was about how to manage a classroom and things like that. And yeah,
no, it wouldn't have done anything. It wouldn't have done anything. It would have done would have been to just address that little bit of imposter syndrome that you had. Yes. And it would have just been maybe something that lived in your description somewhere or on a website somewhere, so that some know-it-all is like, oh yeah, she's fine, she deserves that. I mean,
that's exactly it. And I would have got 40k on a master's and
thanks.
2 years or something. So it's my decision not to do that. And
good for you. I think I would actually be like, don't let them win.
Yeah.
Even though
they can have that. They can have their little quip. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And then the hate on other platforms. So you said you've got Instagram is always a dog. YouTube, it can be other creators.
Yes.
And then the
worst was Twitter. Yeah. I don't use Twitter anymore. I only use it for customer service. So if my Ocado order isn't on time, I might tweet them. But yeah, Twitter was just so brutal.
Yeah.
And just angry, really angry. Whatever you said would get ripped apart, and people would at you in their hatred and things. And I think the worst thing about Twitter is that there is no tone of voice. There's no. Now I know they're doing little short form videos and things like that, but on Instagram, I feel you can send a voice note or you can do a story. On YouTube, it's a video, but on Twitter, it's just characters, and you're limited to a certain extent. And people were just misconstruing things, preempting the tone, and what do you feel about Twitter?
I think there's a lot of negativity, and I feel like when I'm in a bad mood, I will go there to find more darkness, and I'm like,
really?
It's like self-sabotage. I'm like, oh, I hate this, so let me go and see what other people think about that. And they all think worse, and I'll go, yeah, I'm so valid in that thought, because they're all struggling as well.
Yeah, that's true. I probably have done that at times.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I see someone's name trending and I'm thinking, ugh, what have they done now? Let's bring it. And then, yes, I don't ever join in with it, but I do consume it. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually said, I think on a live stream, my worst nightmare would be to log on to Twitter and see my name trending. I actually think that would be one of that. I'd rather be, I can't explain how it would make me feel. I can't deal with people publicly, cancel culture. I hate it so much. It makes me feel sick. It makes me not want a platform at all.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing. There is a place for people to be, deplatformed in some situations, which is why I don't think cancel culture will ever be stopped. Because there are I can think of a few people that should have been, Jimmy Savile, for example. I'm sure if he was still alive, I would have loved to have seen him cancelled to the point of no return. But it is a huge issue as well. And some of the things I see people getting cancelled for, I think if you take a step back and look at it, it's just, what's it for? And I actually had an experience that was I wasn't trending. It wasn't that big a deal, but it felt like a big deal at the time. A couple of linguists who I'm now on very good terms with.
Nice.
But because they didn't ever have a way of really contacting me, or thought because my numbers were so big I wouldn't listen, they had a couple of problems with a few of my videos from way back. It was a video where I compared northern and southern accents, but I did it in a really off way, which I didn't even understand at the time that there was such a divide, honestly, because I'd just been in my southern bubble.
Yeah.
But because the girl I did it with, she is northern, but had changed her accent to a southern accent, and that really rubbed people up the wrong way.
Right.
But yeah, I was listening to So You've Been Publicly Shamed by John Ronson. I always want to say Mark Ronson, which is a really, really great book about cancel culture before cancel culture was really a thing. And I was on a run, and then I opened my Twitter I wanted to find one of the tweets that he was talking about, and I didn't have my notifications on, but just saw my mentions completely full. And I remember my heartbeat really, really rising even more. I was already on a run, and it was me being called out and just really criticised by lots and lots of people. And I remember having to run home, so I could take a better look at it. And it was awful. The feeling of it is just, you can't describe it. You go into fight or flight mode. Luckily, I've managed to train myself to really not respond in the moment, to analyse it all, sometimes sleep on things, not get angry and get defensive, because I think that's when a lot of influencers make massive mistakes, is when they reply to one person thinking it's one person and just ignoring the fact that everyone's waiting for them to mess up even more.
Yes.
So
yeah, that must have been like absolutely horrendous. And like you said, it wasn't trending, but in your world, in your mentions, it had blown up. So like me sitting here in my living room might not have known anything about it, but in your community, in the place that you want to be well respected, well liked, everyone wants to be liked at work and on the internet if they're public. So yeah, that's really hard. So I can totally see why that would have just been bloody hard. Did you take a bit of time off after?
Yes, because that happened, and then I think the YouTuber that made like a call out video of me about another video shortly after, I think he was inspired a bit by this, because I know he was involved in that linguistic circle on Twitter. So that came straight after. And that was too much. So I think I took just over a month off YouTube, which I hadn't done for a very long time. And I was really like burnt by it, a bit traumatized by it for a long time afterwards. And I was speaking to Will, because it's nearly been a year since this has happened, and I do feel back to normal now. But for 6 months, I think I was feeling like the effects of it. Like I just fell out of love with everything that I used to like cooking. I couldn't bring myself to cook. It sounds so dramatic, but my whole world was a little bit shaken, because I honestly thought that I was just an unproblematic, fairly likable to a certain extent person that wasn't causing any harm. And suddenly it was brought to my attention that without intending to, I was actually really upsetting people. And I felt the pressure of having this whole catalogue of content I was going to have to go through and make sure there wasn't anything that could also upset people. Also, going forward, I knew exactly what I didn't want to post and did want to post, but I was just really nervous about it all happening again.
Do you feel like now, when it comes to creating content, there's like a checklist of things that you have to go through?
At first, yes, when I started making content again. For example, I spoke to lots and lots of people that had criticised me, because I wanted to hear, their points of views. And lots of them brought up lots of different topics. And I got to the point where I realised I actually don't have to agree with everything, but I've heard their opinions. But at first I wanted to listen and take absolutely everything they said, so I could completely, protect myself, which isn't actually the right way to go about it. So now, for example, I took the intro off my channel because it said beautiful British English, and some people didn't like that because it was implying that other forms of English aren't beautiful, but then I thought, no, that is silly. I want to teach people
Yeah.
I'm not implying that at all. That's just how someone has interpreted that.
Got it.
So I've put that back in. But there are lots of things that I do think of now.
Yeah.
That also to just be a better teacher as well.
Yeah.
Less clickbait, more high quality grammar videos. I know don't do as well, but I know the students that do watch them really, really like them. And I'm less going viral focused now. I was really, really excited about the prospect of going viral. And then I had a bad experience from going viral, and now it's just not that attractive.
Yeah. And like as well, when things just get out of hand, I don't know, it just makes you go, okay, what am I doing this for? What's it all for? And you go back to what it was you started the channel for. You saw a gap in the market, an opportunity where you're like, actually, I could provide those kind of lessons. And you're like, goes back to all of that. It then doesn't become about you as a person. It just goes back to actually teaching, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. And about providing like real value to my students as well. So a lot of my videos in the past, I think some of them were just too much to please the algorithm. But now I'm really like, that doesn't serve my students that much. It brings in new ones that can then benefit from other videos, but I've definitely decreased those. And I now provide a free PDF with every lesson, which I absolutely love, because I'm really proud of those PDFs.
Yeah.
They're the kind of thing that I would have wanted to have as a teacher to give to my students. And then the fact that they bring in people to my email list as well. It's just amazing. Yeah, I'm just really happy about it.
No, that's amazing. Thanks so much for like opening up and sharing that, because it takes a lot of bravery even to just, like you said, go on, have conversations and talk to a lot of the people that have criticized you. I think that I probably wouldn't have even been mature enough I would be like, they hate me from the beginning. Oh my gosh, I've got to have a conversation with someone who hates me. And yeah, I think that just doing that, and like, surely you didn't switch on and they were like shouting. Was it like not?
No, not at all. And the guy who called me out in the video, he was actually slightly remorseful. And we're still in contact frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, we're never going to be, absolute best buddies, but I think we both saw that each of us was having a hard time in different ways, and we're, support each other a little bit. No, everyone was, it was amazing that when people are angry, if you just ask them, do you know, I'd like to sit down in a calm situation and hear what you have to say, like how many amazing conversations can come out of that. It really was good. And that is how I will do things. I'll continue to do that going forward, because when you do sit down on Zoom and it's just you and them, they aren't just going to shout at you.
That's amazing. I love
and you might not hear like things that you like to hear. It might be like painful to be criticized, and
I noticed that when I do a live stream, there are people that create accounts called like Lia is a knob or Lia is shit, and they just send hate from a brand new account that's called like Lia's a bitch or something. And I wonder what it would be like to jump on a Zoom with them and just be like, what is it about me that bothers you so much, and see how they react, because I actually think that would be so good for both them and me. So
yeah. So did you hear Sally Hughes' Radio 4 documentary about? It's called Me and My Trolls.
No,
she's
I've watched a lot on
columnist.
Trolls. Okay.
She has just had a huge problem with trolls that use one of the main trolling websites, and they just rip her to shreds. And she actually met up with one of her trolls and spoke to them.
Wow.
And they were really remorseful. And it was so funny, because you've got to think, to be the odd hate comment, I often see a video and I think, oh, that's so stupid. Like one of those stupid 5-minute craft videos. And sometimes I don't do it, but I feel the urge to let them know, thanks for wasting my time, loser, or something like that.
Yeah.
But to actually consistently do it over time, and that be one of your pastimes, to hate someone, you've got to be in a really rubbish place, I think.
For sure. I've blocked all of those websites now, but when I used to go on them and read, I noticed like some crazy comments from people where they say, of all my years on insert website here, I've never seen da-da-da. And I'm like, of all of your years, like, why are you saying this? This is a achievement. Like sometimes I see them commenting things like, I've got kids and I've got a husband and I'm juggling my job and all of this. And I'm like, how do you have time to frequent this website with your horrible thoughts? It's mad. And they think that they're doing the creator a favor because they're not commenting it publicly. They're commenting it as in they're not commenting it publicly underneath your picture, underneath your video. They're doing it on their own separate website in their safe space. And
But it's not private. It's open to everyone. If it was a WhatsApp group that stayed between these people, fine.
Yeah.
But it's not. And the thing is, I really want free speech. And there are a lot of influencers that do like awful things. The amount of undisclosed ads I see, there is absolutely a place for people to call out people on that.
Yeah.
But then it's where is the line where it just becomes hatred? And I think it's the speculation as well.
Yeah.
But it's not illegal. It's not illegal to speculate. Yeah.
No. And someone, I know we were just going back to Twitter, someone, I think it was one of the like gurus about social media, it might have been Gary V. He said that Twitter is like the modern equivalent of the town square. He's like, it's the town square where people gather and they gossip and they meet up and that's it. It's the 21st century town square. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is just so true. Like, of course you're going to hear gossip in the town. What are people doing? And they're allowed to say all of that. It's just that when I can so easily type in someone's name and read all the town gossip about them or myself, I don't know how at the moment to cope with that. The only coping thing I've found is just to not go looking for it.
Yeah, I think if I had more gossip about me on especially having a personal channel, I thought that maybe people might have, but they haven't, thankfully. And at the moment, I'm being, I'm good at filtering out the hatred and things. But I think if that did pop up, I think I would feel really. I think it would be Will actually, because he's quite protective, and I think that would make him want to share a lot less.
Yeah,
I think if that kind of thing happened.
Yeah,
he hates people saying untrue things. Yeah,
I mean. It just made me think, like, I told Atch, for anyone listening, Atch, or AK, he's my boyfriend, and some of the trolls think that we're currently going through a breakup, which isn't true at all.
Oh, that's awful.
I know, but Joel told me, because I haven't been on the websites for ages, I set up like Chrome blockers, and apparently they think we're going through this breakup, blah, blah, blah. And I told Atch, and he was like, oh my gosh, like, this is so entertaining. Like, let's entertain it. And I was like, no. And he was like, isn't that amazing though, that people have got such an interest? And I'm like, wow, that's such a nice way of seeing it. Like, he's like, they're so engaged and interested that they will go and talk about you or your business. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of a good way to see it, but I can't get on board with that.
I wish we could all be like Atch and do it like that. Yeah, I don't. Will's my fiance. I don't think he'd be like that at all. He's grown up in a very private family, and it's taken a lot for him to come on and be comfortable in the vlogs and things. And he does really enjoy it. And we'll all sit down before posting anything and watch it together. Yeah. And also make sure that our number plate hasn't shown in the window or something like that. But I think if it did cross that line, I think we would see Will massively retreat. So let's hope it doesn't happen, because I like Will being in the videos. Yeah, for sure. Fingers crossed. Yeah. But yeah, trying to end it on a little bit of a positive. Obviously, all of this would, we wouldn't have any of these negative things if there wasn't a majority positive vibe going on out there. Like, I'd say 90%, 99% of everything is positive. Yeah, and definitely worth it. And yeah. What are you? Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, our brains are just programmed to just be really, really offended when we see the odd negative comment, and then we get so used to seeing all these lovely comments. Isn't it so bad? I know. But yeah, I think in general we've got it good. Just you've got the odd breakup rumor. I've got the odd, call out video. Oh, yeah. It's all right. It's not bad, is it? It's not too bad. People are like, oh yeah, their channel's definitely dying, and I'm like, oh god, and now I've got to keep it afloat to prove them wrong. Just to prove them wrong. Oh god, it's awful. Yeah, that's the thing, because all of your businesses and all of our business, not only do we have Company's House posting everything, we've also got our numbers. So if we lose a subscriber, they'll notice. I mean, they've stopped doing the live sub counts now. Do you remember when James Charles and Tatty had that thing and they were doing the subscribers falling off one by one?
Oh my gosh, awful. Absolutely awful. Hate that.
How painful.
So painful.
Manny MUA actually came out with a video talking about everything and what he went through. And it was really, really insightful. And I don't know, with great success comes great responsibility and great, like the higher you get, the further you have to fall.
Yes.
That's it. So true. Responsibility. Yeah,
it's true. I mean, I'm totally off topic. I'm watching Line of Duty at the moment. I'm on season one. And obviously you got Gates, and this is again a niche reference for anyone who's not watching. But you know, he's set up at the start of the series. He's this like high achiever. He's the best. He's like the top dog, and now he's slowly starting to fall and crumble. And I'm like waiting for him to get locked up. And I'm like, why do we love watching people high fall? Why? Why is it us Inhumans? We love watching them fall. But yeah.
It's true. I just think any creator should just look at lots of other creators that have been brought down a couple of times. I always think of PewDiePie, the amount of scandals he's had. Yeah. And he does still climb back up again. It seems to be a cycle.
It does. And on that note, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Lucy, for sharing and for coming on. It's been so nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I was so excited. I thought you felt obliged to invite me, but
no.
I was really, really excited.
No, I was just like, oh, I've got to get Lucy on. And then when I did a live stream, everyone was like, get Lucy on, get Lucy on. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, if she would.
It's because I was in the comments. So obviously they were pushing you too.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad you did. And I can't wait to see
I'm sure
all of the other guests you have as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You'll see it. You'll see it posted all over my social. But for anyone who doesn't, I'm sure everyone knows you, but if they don't, they can find you on Instagram at Lucy.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? It is a good one, at Lucy.
It's just the best. It's the best handle ever. I always get people go, how did at Lucy get at Lucy? And I'm like, don't know, go ask her. Like, don't ask me.
Lucy never reveals her at secrets. So
I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I absolutely loved catching up with Lucy. It was so great to chat to her. And don't forget, if you don't know where to find Lucy, you can find all of her information in the show notes. Or if you're watching on YouTube, then you can find it in the description of this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're listening on an audio platform. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Just subscribe everywhere, really. And leave us a little review. That would go so far. Thank you for your kind words. And if you don't enjoy it, then just don't write anything anywhere. That would be great. Loads of love, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, bye, bye. Chats with Lia Hatz. What are you saying then?